Ladies and gentlemen, lately on Twitter, we've heard the name of Uhuru Kenyatta being dragged into the problems that we've been having in the country. Actually, people are saying now he needs to be accountable for everything that happened during his tenure for 10 years since 2013. Now, why Uhuru Kenyatta? Before I go why to Uhuru Kenyatta, let me give you a brief history about Uhuru Kenyatta. He became the president of Kenya since 2013. Though that was not the first time he vied, because the first time he vied was 2002, but that was the second time he vied and he won. The deputy president was William Ruto. During this time, we had several things happening in the country, new leadership being experienced, changes being experienced here and there, new things being brought in because there was a new constitution that was being implemented by Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto for the first time in Kenya. Now, what are some of these things that happened? The first thing that happened during that time, it is that there were massive borrowing by the regime by that time. They borrowed huge amounts of money that they were using in various developments in the country. Borrowing was done from various parts, like now the East, that is the China itself. China gave Kenya huge amounts of money and actually carried out several projects in the country because the Chinese were all over. Be it electricity, be it the issue to do with roads, be it other infrastructural designs, the Chinese government was, the Chinese people were hugely involved in the Kenyan politics. So, what other thing that happened? The other thing that happened during this time, there's massive infrastructural developments in the country. During Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto's time, that is from 2013 to 2017, to 2022, we had roads being made across the country. They were claiming to have made 11,000 plus kilometers of roads across the country. It is true, there were so many roads that were made, including the one from Kisii, Suneka, going to Rongo, and then from Kisii, Kisumu. That's a huge highway that right now is under completion, and we hope by the end of the year, the road will be done and to be used by Kenyans very well. Now, there was also a railway that was done. That's the standard gauge railway from Mombasa all the way to Nairobi. It was supposed to actually to Nakuru. It was supposed to be extended to other parts of the country like Malaba, but it hasn't because maybe of the cost of construction. Another thing is there are dams being done across the country. Dams, particularly in the central Kenya, there are so many that have been done, including Kirinyaga. We've had some in Kitui, and we have another one in Murang'a. There are so many dams that are so far been done in central Kenya, and those dams were all geared to ensuring there's water in the country. Also, the other infrastructure development that was done, it is Huduma centers. There were Huduma centers that were set up across the country to help the common mwananchi access government services easily. That was a huge milestone, and I feel personally that was one of the legacies that Uhuru Kenyatta left behind. Another one is that the Uhuru Kenyatta also did another thing that actually touched most Kenyans, is that he managed COVID-19. Despite there were corruption cases, he managed COVID-19 swiftly, in that we didn't see cases of job losses, particularly from the government. People stayed at home, but still the government was able to run. So that was huge, and I think Uhuru Kenyatta did a massive job when it comes to managing COVID-19. But now, where did the problem about Uhuru Kenyatta begin? Before I dissect on that topic, kindly if this is the first time you're watching our videos, make sure that you subscribe, like, and comment, because that is the best support you can always give this channel. Now, let me dive into the topic. Now, why did the problem become? Why did Uhuru do a mistake? Now, the ex-Gen Z and the millennials are going after him. That is the fact. And actually, it won't take time before Uhuru is trending, because one of the things that he did during his time, he allowed so many corruption cases to take place in the country. There are so many instances. Borrowing occurred, but that money was not well used. And right now, as we speak, that money is being paid back by Kenyans heavily. Kenyans are feeling the impact of the borrowing that was done during Uhuru Muigai's time. Now, Kenyans have started developing the sense that, no, wait, this money that you are paying, was it really used in Kenya? Was it used well? People are having an idea that the borrowing that was done during that time involved massive stealing. Therefore, they're also calling for the accountability of Kenyatta and his people, because that money that was wasted at that time is now painfully affecting the Kenyans' well-being, because every money that is collected in the form of taxes is paid to the loan. And actually, that is giving William Ruto a huge task to manage the country. So therefore, Kenyans are reaching a point, particularly the Gen Zs and millennials, are saying, no. Now we need this gentleman to come back and explain where the money went. Another thing that okay, before I go to another thing, some of the corruption cases that we experienced in the country, one of them was the NY scandal, where we had the 16 billion mismanagement, and actually some of them were mismanaged. And during this time, we didn't see proper punishment to these leaders who were involved. What happened at that time? Some of these leaders, like Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru was at the center of the NYS, and during her time, we had being asked about the money. But despite of the corruption cases that were after her, the lady still went and vied for the Kirinyaga seat and got elected massively and under the support of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and William Samoei Ruto. Then that means when it comes to fighting corruption, Uhuru Kenyatta was down. He did not do his job as it's supposed to happen. Another thing that happened, it was the inflation of the SGR. People are saying that, particularly Jimmy Wanjigi, is saying that SGR was inflated. SGR cost was inflated. It was supposed to cost about 200 something billion, but it went to almost 500 and something billion. That was massive looting that occurred there. So therefore, people are asking that we need accountability. Why was it inflated? So people are feeling that it was wrong to do at that time because that time youths never came out as it is now to ask for accountability from the government. So therefore, they're asking Uhuru Kenyatta to come on board and, of course, respond to that. Another big thing that happened was Arol and Kimarel Dam, which was among the biggest scandals where we had 21 billion shillings being wasted. And actually, William Ruto said it was 7 billion, just 7 billion got wasted. And this is the case that we are talking about where huge amounts of money of public funds, huge public funds are wasted and nobody is is being accountable for these amounts of money. So the government is now asking, like, after a huge announcement that the money had been stolen, the cases of the people who were involved in that saga were all withdrawn, and right now one of the people, Kamau Thuge, is heading the central bank. Then now we say that where is the country heading to? We are having corrupt people, suspected corrupt people, now heading our institutions, and we expect corruption to be fought. It can't work. So therefore, Uhuru Kenyatta is supposed to be asked the questions that, really, during your time, was it possible that you could not produce enough evidence to come on board and prosecute such people? That is why the Gen Zs and millennials are after him. Another one, it's that we saw openly Langata primary kids being tear-gassed, chased out of school because of a land grabber who wants to take up the school. That was a huge and bad thing that happened in front of everybody, particularly considering that Uhuru was in power. After that, we didn't see these people getting arrested. Nobody was prosecuted. Therefore, we ask ourselves, why is it that we are allowing such cases to happen in the country? Yes, you are in power as the president. So these are some of the things that are bringing back anger to the people because people feel like there was a lot of wastage that occurred during that time. Now, another thing that Uhuru Kenyatta did that is making people to get hurt, it's not just corruption, but we also had fake promises. We had Uhuru Kenyatta talking of laptops, which did not deliver in most of the schools. And actually, the system that they were having in mind is not actually functional because we had schools with laptops but without electricity. Another thing we had is stadiums, where stadiums were supposed to be delivered in most of the counties, actually 47 of them. So far we don't have a stadium, most of them were not delivered. Another thing we had, it's the issue of right, left, and center. We had the issue of lands being affected. Like here, someone is grabbing, someone is having this land. These are some of the things that brought anger among Kenyans, and people felt like Uhuru Kenyatta needs to be accountable. Now, Uhuru Kenyatta kept quiet since then. He has been very quiet after becoming a former president. He has not talked of the challenges we've been experiencing. He only came out to speak through his government, through his spokesperson, that is Kanzadena, where he said that they have denied 50 million, I think something of that side, to go and buy cars that are supposed to be bought. There are no cars, then there's no funding of the former president's office. He has been forced to use a private office. I mean, up to this level, I want to explain here that, which means that is selfishness. He only fights for what is his. He only fights for what concerns him. But what Kenyans are experiencing is not talking about. Therefore, Uhuru Kenyatta needs to come out and say that the audit even supposed to be done should not be done or should be done. Because we need to know how the money was used, particularly that is leading to huge debts that we are currently, the Kenyans are paying back. So therefore, Uhuru Kenyatta has to wake up, come to the people, and mention some of these things and even support the processes like auditing of the public debt so that people can understand. There are also cases of Pandora box that people have been talking about. That's something that should be unleashed maybe to the public to see what happened, what is it, why is the money, huge amounts of money kept out of Kenya? Because it is wrong when you take people's money or maybe gain money from Kenya in short and then have this money stored abroad. Now eventually you find that this money is not helping the country. That's huge amounts of money because people are saying it's a huge amount of money that has been kept outside there and it is wrong to have it kept outside there, yet it should be benefit the economy of Kenya. That is my video there and there. And if this is the first time once again you're watching our videos, make sure that you subscribe, like and comment because that is the best support you can always give this channel. My name is Abdul Mokwa.